Jobs where you can excel. You can be a great teacher, a great doctor, or a lawyer, or an engineer, or a scientist. But it's very hard to be a great parent. I don't think there's a great parent. Every parent fails. Every kid feels that the parents are useless. Every parent feels inadequate in dealing with kids. That's the nature of parent. But perhaps it will become easier if you recognize a few things. The first, very hard to recognize, particularly in a country like India. Khalil Gibran said, a child may come from you, but the child does not belong to you. Very hard to comprehend this. Certainly, we transfer the genes to the children, but they're not our property. They do not belong to us. They are separate individuals, their own dreams and visions and talents and potential. And if we don't recognize it and allow them to grow, eventually it will lead to strife between the parent and the child, and eventually it will lead to stunting of the child, intellectually and emotionally. I appeal to you is however much we love the children, let's give them that freedom, the space to grow, and recognize that their dreams are different from ours. We don't have to see them through the prism of our dreams. See them as extension of our lives. They're not. They're independent individuals. The second thing I'd like to appeal to all of you is I've seen the impressive academic accomplishments here. An average of 86.5% and many kids doing 90% plus. These are remarkable things. But you know what? I'm not impressed with scores in India in general. We are a country with inflated scores with very little true accomplishment in education. So don't worry too much about marks and grades. I know your administration is very angry with me. Because, trust me, it's not important what rank you get. Nobody ever was asked when they achieved true greatness, what rank have you achieved in school or college? In fact, I can also say very few truly accomplished people in life acquired ranks and scores in childhood. Many of them actually did okay, not badly. People who have a monochromatic view of life only have academic distinction, who master the textbooks and get ranks, generally tend not to do very well in life. So don't worry about it. Education is about fulfilling human potential. Every child is endowed by nature with enormous potential. Human beings alone have this unique need for education. Animals don't have education, they don't have schools, they don't have annual functions. Because the instincts take over. But human beings, because of the brain power, because of the ability to speak, use language, and therefore to learn and to communicate and to cooperate. These are unique features of human beings. Therefore, we need education unlike any other species on planet Earth. That's why every generation is better than the earlier generations. No matter how bright you are as parents, your child is always better than you because your generation, my generation, taught everything to the next generation. A bit more they learn, and cumulatively they are better off. And that's why generation after generation, humanity is much better off. And that's the purpose of education, to fulfill their potential, to allow them to give a chance to discover themselves, to understand where they excel, what their aptitude is, where they are most creative. By merely focusing on marks and grades, however important we think they are, we're actually stunting creativity. They must learn, there's no question about it. But the learning must be with joy, with a purpose, and they must learn how to utilize knowledge, not to mug up. Indian cultural tradition is typically one of learning by rote, anushrutam. Right from Vedas, we chant, we repeat, we mug up, and rote learning has become endemic to our culture. It's not a good idea for intellectual development. We require people to understand the concepts, apply the knowledge in real life. The third thing you can teach them is what you do in life has to be relevant to other people. When I see thousands of youngsters going for government jobs, intense competition, a rat race, I feel very disappointed. The principal said, while introducing the head boy and head girl to me, they want to be in the IAS. I was not particularly pleased about it. That should not be our dream at all. That's a silly dream. They should fulfill their potential. Government jobs should not be the be all and end all of life. It's a tragedy of this country. Most often in government, people do nothing. They're parasites. There's a rat race for those, there's enormous competition for the civil services, for instance. About 15 lakh kids apply. Many waste years and years of their time, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Those who are selected, they think they are God's gift to humanity and end up doing nothing after that, most often. Some of them do excellent, but very many of them don't really do much. And those who are not selected, they're dispirited, dejected, they're underconfident, and what they could have done tremendously in society is wasted. There's nothing wrong with public office. If they are passionate about public good, if they genuinely believe that the collective good is important and I have something to contribute to that, then encourage them. But let them not think that there is only one way of serving the public. There are 100 ways. A good scientist serves the public more than a good IAS officer. In fact, I often tell people, has any one of you ever felt that, my God, my district collector is absent from office today, my life is very messy? It makes no difference to us. But supposing a bathroom is clogged, you don't have a plumber that day, can you survive for one day? Who is more important in life? Be practical. Is a plumber more important or a district magistrate more important? And why are you putting one fellow on a pedestal? If somebody else says it will be taken as something very negative or pejorative, I don't mean that. I was a district magistrate. I understand public administration. But putting them on a pedestal is not a good idea of a sane society. It is a feudal society that worships power, that puts those in positions of office on a pedestal. A sensible society regards every functionary as a functionary. You may be a chief minister, you may be a prime minister, you may be a minister or high official. You are there to serve the public purpose. You are judged by the outcomes you generate, by the service you render, not by the position you occupy, not by the status you think you enjoy or you demand. My appeal to you is make your children self-confident, young people of self-respect. A citizenry that does not respect itself, that worships power, prostrates before power, is a very unhappy citizen. It's not a happy society, it's not a democratic society. Democracy is not merely voting and shouting. I know some of these ideas are a little unconventional, but please think about it. Please think about it. I heard quite a bit about patriotism. I'm delighted that certain notions, certain ideas of the collective good are inculcated in the youngsters in the name of values on a monthly basis. It's wonderful. I often wonder, what is patriotism? What is collective good? True patriotism is not merely saluting Mother India or the tricolor flag. They are all symbols, they're important for a sense of unity. But true patriotism is something much deeper, much simpler. No matter how rich and powerful you think you are, your kids may do very well. They went to Takra school, later on they graduate in flying colors in some great institutions, and they get a profession. They do well, or they start an enterprise, they do well. And they build a wonderful mansion, fulfill their dreams in their personal life. No matter how rich and powerful you are, the mosquito that bites the neighborhood urchin is going to enter your home. It's going to bite you and your kids. It's going to transmit the dengue virus or chikungunya virus. Because you know what? Mosquitoes are truly socialist. They do not respect rank or status or money. Controlling mosquitoes, preventing spread of disease is true patriotism. True patriotism is fulfilling the collective needs which you individually cannot. Combining your individual goals with the collective good, because one cannot exist without the other, they have to go together. That is the true hallmark of patriotism. The others are symbols. Please don't forget it. I'm particularly reminded because a couple of months ago, my wife and I obviously were bitten by a mosquito, or two mosquitoes separately, and we got chikungunya. My wife is still recovering. I still have some occasional pains and all that. Now, it doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter how careful I am. In a country like India, a mosquito is bound to bite. When we were medical students, 55 years ago, I joined 50 years ago in medical, 51, 52 years ago in medical school. When we were medical students, we used to thank our stars because the mosquito that transmits the dengue virus from chikungunya or yellow fever called Aedes mosquito was not there in India. We used to thank our stars now how lucky we are. If only we had that, how much of disease would have been there. Now, India has the highest incidence of dengue fever and chikungunya both. Luckily, we don't yet have yellow fever by a miracle, but one day it's bound to happen. It is the collective good that we cannot individually improve. That is the heart of patriotism. That's why Gurujar చెప్పాడు దేశమంటే మట్టి కాదోయ్ దేశమంటే మనుషులై. To me, one of the most profound sayings is not a lump of earth. It's not a piece of geography. It's not tricolor. It's the people, our collective welfare. And that's where our kids must be sensitized. Your children of the school are very lucky, very privileged because they are your children. You are sacrificing a great deal. You give enormous attention to them. You give immense opportunity. And schools like this are doing a phenomenal job. I can see the passion of Vishwanath and his team and your principal. No, talk to her for half an hour. First of all, you get scared. Second, you're in awe of her passion. But please remember, out there are millions of kids in this country who were endowed by nature with the same ability, but who are born to the wrong womb, and therefore are denied the opportunity to fulfill their potential. I do not know if there is a God. At the age of 14 or 15, I discarded God because I started reading Bertrand Russell. My relationship with God is one of mutual non-interference. If God doesn't bother about me, I don't bother about God either. We're quite happy with each other. But I do believe that there is sin. And the greatest sin is unfulfilled potential. If nature endowed us with a certain potential, if we have the capacity innately to rise to a certain level, if the society does not allow that innate potential to flower, to flourish, that is the greatest sin. And in that sense, India is home to the sum total of the greatest sin. Every kid is in school in the country. Parents like you are sacrificing enormously. Even the poor parents are paying disproportionate sums out of pocket in the hope that their children get an opportunity, a head start. And the governments are not paying small amounts. The Telangana government is spending about 1,10,000 rupees per child per year at school. You can run schools like Tatva. But you know what's happening in those schools. 50% of the kids at the age, between the ages of 14 and 18, in our state, for instance, cannot look at a watch and read time. Only 50% can tell you the hour and the minute. About 70% vaguely about the hour, that's all. If you send them to a market, ask them to get 4 kilograms of brinjal, put the appropriate weights there to get 4 kilograms, only 50% know how to put. You cannot be in 21st century and be productive and of use to yourself and to your society with this level of appalling low skills. It's not because they're not endowed by nature. It's because we collectively, as a governing system and as a society, are somewhat apathetic. and that is a sin. You see the traffic on my way here, you have such a beautiful school here, you get about 20 heart attacks on your way here, and you see the traffic, the chaotic traffic. That's not the way we run a society. You can't have a wonderful home and go out and all hell breaks loose. It's just not right. I heard of a kid in one school the other day who got a first mark or whatever in a traffic examination because they were teaching traffic rules and all that. The kid got a first mark. On the way home, the kid got hit by a truck or by a vehicle. Luckily, he survived, but he got a fracture. Because what he learned, what he practiced are two different things. He didn't understand the traffic rules are to protect himself and those around him. As a result, we have 160,000 people dying on the roads in this country, most of them young people, the highest number in the world. I can go on and on. Education is about making life better for yourself and those around you. It's not a piece of paper, it's not a certificate, it's not a degree, it's not a diploma. It is about enhancing life. It's about creating true wealth. True wealth is not money. True wealth is creation of goods and services that everybody needs. A job cannot come just because somebody in government puts you in a chair and you give a monthly wage. You must fulfill the human needs. In the process, society's needs are met and you get a livelihood. There is a signage. There is a reciprocity. These simple things, if we don't let them understand, we'll be committing grave error in raising our children. I'm sure your school is doing that. I'm sure you are doing that. I'm mentioning this more for the larger society. You have a deeper understanding about what education means. Because time and again, our schools have 96% pass. In Telangana, for instance, Andhra Pradesh. And the governments at the national and local level, they conduct achievement surveys and see what are the learning levels expected in that grade and what are the learning. 6% reach the achievement levels. 8%, 96% pass, 6 to 8%, 10% are the real achievement. So what is the gap of 86? Fluff. We are deceiving ourselves. Either rote learning or mass copy. Let education come. India can do better. Because this is going to be our single biggest stumbling block to economic growth and prosperity in the next generation. Quality of education. I remember visiting China some years ago. I was astounded at the quality of school education. Everybody, irrespective of the place and the family in which she is born, gets exceptional quality education up to 8th grade. 9th onwards, you have to pay some amount, some fee, but they get good education. But the school education foundations are so strong, there's no dearth of intelligent, thoughtful youngsters capable of creating wealth. We need that. We cannot simply have dreams without working to fulfill them as a society, as a nation state. Finally, I want you to give a sense of optimism to young people. Sometimes I say young people despair, sometimes needless. You're all relatively young compared to me because you're still parents. I'm now at an age when I should be a grandparent, though I'm not privileged to be a grandparent yet. But I'm sure even you recognize life when you were born, in your families, and life today, no matter who you are, where you come from, which region, which language, which position, rural, urban, no matter where you are, in these 30 years or